Hey friends, I'm putting together a really quick video that I didn't expect and didn't want to ever have to put out today, but I'm going to. Something just happened within the last hour concerning stabilizing braces as they relate to AR pistols. We've been hearing rumblings over several months now, possibly even the last couple of years, of how the ATF has never been happy with stabilizing braces, but never have ruled on it. There's always the back and forth, the letters that came out. This letter said you could shoulder it. That letter said you couldn't shoulder it. And that back and forth has continued to happen all this time. However, for quite some time now, we've been able to shoulder these things, or at least have them on your rifle without having to SBR it. Any of you that are new to the gun world that don't know what SBRing it means, I'll put some links in the description so you can take a look at it. But this is a barrel that's shorter than 16 inches. And this is an SB tactical stabilizing brace that's on it. This is an AR pistol. It's actually a pistol caliber carbine. It's in 10 millimeter. This thing is legal to possess just as it is without filing any additional form or anything like that, because it is, again, considered a pistol. The ATF, as of today, and they're picking on Q, the company Q. But this is a letter that's going to be going out to many other companies. Many companies that have similar AR pistols. This actually is a CMMG, right, that I'm holding right here. They'll be getting a letter too, I'm sure. Everybody will. They're picking on these companies and now telling them that this, in its current configuration, is going to be considered an SBR, and that it needs to have its proper paperwork with the NFA, or regarding the NFA, filed, and the $200 tax stamp also paid. It's a forced tax, and it's just something that the ATF decided to do suddenly without going through the APA. There's tons of things that have happened that should not have happened. I've actually got some letters here that I'm going to show you here in a second. The APA being the Administrative Procedure Act, and let me just say real quick, the APA, Administrative Procedure Act, is any of you guys who have taken part, whether it was through bump stocks or anything else where you've had your, quote, opinion given, where the ATF actually posts a particular topic on their website and you have your, quote, opinion, the public opinion that you can give to that. I think there were 30,000 of them submitted in relation to bump stocks. That's the APA in action. It's not the ATF doing this out of the kindness of their heart. The ATF does not care what your thoughts are on anything. Luckily, we have a law in place that makes them pose this out there to us and allow us to give feedback before any kind of change is made to whatever ruling that they have. They're not incorporating that process right now. They are sidestepping the APA completely and trying to change the rules with the stroke of a pen. What I have in my hand right here is a letter that Q is sending out to all of their customers. This letter is a result of what the ATF has done and submitted to Q, and obviously many other companies. You're going to be hearing about this a lot today and tomorrow and the rest of the week. And I'll read it to you. Dear customer, on August 3rd, 2020, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives issued Q a formal cease and desist letter notifying us that ATF has taken the position that the Q Honey Badger is a short-barreled rifle, SBR, regulated under the National Firearms Act. In response, Q has ceased all production of the Honey Badger pistol and submitted a comprehensive letter to ATF and Department of Justice. And I do have that letter right here. I will read you some of the highlights from it. Additionally, we have provided recommendations on how to address the firearms already in circulation. See, that's the problem. There's so many of these firearms already in circulation. Thousands of these Honey Badgers are already out there, not to mention the millions. There's 3.5 million SB tactical braces out there. That's one company. That's not including all the other companies that make some form of stabilizing brace out there. 3.5 million SB tactical braces are out there right now amongst all of the law-abiding gun owners in America. This is what Q's remedies are, and again, these are remedies that are being pushed onto them to be pushed onto their customers by the ATF. In the meantime, Q encourages possessors of the Honey Badger pistol to take these proactive measures until a resolution is reached between Q and the ATF. Complete one of the following. A, remove the barreled upper receiver from the lower receiver and dedicate it as a replacement for another AR style pistol or registered short barreled rifle. Or B, if you do not possess another AR style pistol or registered short barrel rifle, remove the barreled upper receiver from the lower receiver and temporarily transfer it out of your possession. What that means is you have a part that is a piece of, according to the ATF, an illegally possessed SBR in your possession. That's why they're recommending it, that you transfer it out of your possession, because simply possessing this portion right here would be illegal, because it's got what they now consider an SB tactical brace, that they feel like you're shouldering it. Somehow or another, this has been changed to go from being an actual stabilizing brace to a shoulderable brace, according to the ATF, not according to anybody else. Again, they're simply changing what they think the use of this is, because it's their opinion, not because anything else has changed. So by possessing this portion up top here, from the barrel to the receiver to the stock, you're now in possession of an illegally possessed, according to them, SBR. You have not had it formed properly, and you have not paid your $200 tax stamp. So this would be illegal to possess. That's why they're saying transfer it out of your possession. There are many of these out there. As you can see, just me alone, this is another SB Tactical. This is a stabilizing brace on a barrel that is shorter than 16 inches. Both of these weapons right here would be deemed illegal according to the ATF. What they have also put in their letter, Q has, to their customers, is failure to complete option A or option B could result in prosecution and is subject to a $10,000 fine and up to 10 years of imprisonment. That's not to mention the fact that you would now be a felon. These guns right here would render me a felon, and those guns behind me, I could no longer legally possess them according to the ATF, simply because they changed their mind and they have decided that a stabilizing brace now is not a stabilizing brace, but a shoulderable stock with the stroke of a pen. Now, Q has done a really fabulous job, as I'm sure many of these other companies out there have, of having their attorneys get involved and fighting this. Obviously, SB Tactical has as well. Those guys are the tip of the spear as far as I'm concerned. SB Tactical is, because they are always at the forefront of all of this legislation and the discussions that go on behind the doors that we don't see and we don't know about. So again, tip of the hat to tip of the spear, SB Tactical, for being a major part of this. But again, Q, I got to give them kudos for this. These guys did a really, really good job. Q was directed to, one, cease and desist all manufacture and transfer of the Honey Badger pistol firearm unless they properly registered each firearm manufactured on an ATF Form 2 as required by the NFA. So they were actually instructed by the ATF to sell all of these as short barrel pistols, or excuse me, short barrel rifles, instead of the AR pistols with the SB Tactical brace on them. Okay, they were also told to contact the ATF to develop a plan for addressing those firearms already distributed. That's the bigger issue. Again, you've got 3.5 million SB Tactical braces out there. Let's just assume that everybody else has sold another million. So say 4.5 million braces out there. Let's assume that somebody like me probably owns more than one, so maybe it's not 4 million Americans. Let's say everybody owns two, which we know that's probably a stretch. That's 2 million Americans. Q's attorney's letter goes on to say that the letter notified Q that the Honey Badger pistol with arm brace, this is the one from the ATF, is in fact a rifle with a barrel under 16 inches in length and thus subject to the NFA Firearms Act. Again, with the stroke of a pen, you are dealing with an item that has been legal for many years now, maybe 5 years, 6 years. I don't know how long the braces have been out, but quite some time now. So all this time this has been legal to possess and actually have on a pistol such as you see it. Now all of a sudden with the stroke of a pen, your pistol is in fact a rifle with a barrel under 16 inches in length and thus subject to the National Firearms Act. This is subject to the National Firearms Act now. Again, just because a bureaucrat, not somebody who was elected, not somebody who was voted for, somebody who was assigned. Now, they were placed in those positions, right? Who placed them in their positions? You want to go down the rabbit hole here? Most of the ATF and those who were still in place were appointed during the Eric Holder, Barack Obama administration. I'm sorry, it looks like I'm deflecting blame here. but they were. Your follow-up question, along with my follow-up question, is why hasn't Donald Trump gotten rid of those people yet? I don't know the answer to that. I honestly don't. My question is the same. Why hasn't Donald Trump gotten rid of that? Because now what's happening is you're going to have a plethora of companies like Q who are going to be sending out letters very similar to this one to their customers, telling them that you risk 10 years in prison and a $10,000 fine and risk being a felon and risk losing all of the weapons that you have in your possession, because you will now be a felon unless you pay an NFA tax stamp or for an NFA tax stamp on all of your now SBRs. The timing of this is not ironic. We have an election 30 days away. What's today's date? The 6th. We have an election in 1 month. You've got these holdovers from the Obama administration who have always been anti-gun. There are some good people who work for the ATF. I'm sure of this. I've spoken to some. They're not all bad people. But there's a lot of Obama people who absolutely hate guns that work for the ATF. By pushing this right now and making this happen right now, less than 4 weeks out from an election, a federal election to re-elect Donald Trump. And again, guys, you know my feelings about how I don't feel like Donald Trump has done enough to protect the Second Amendment. We're not even going to talk about bump stocks and red flag gun laws. But I have my problems with Donald Trump. I have much bigger problems with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. They have been very vocal and very adamant about what their goals are for firearms, specifically anything in the AR-15 platform. This, according to Joe Biden, is a weapon of war. So by having this come out within 4 weeks of the election, they can properly say that this is Donald Trump's ATF. And they can properly say that Donald Trump's ATF is forcing these companies to make people felons, to make them eligible for a 10-year prison sentence and eligible to pay a $10,000 fine. They can accurately say that. You can say what you want about these were Obama's people. They're Trump's now. Trump inherited these people. Trump did not change them. Now you wonder why some of these wholehearted changes in the government are necessary to take place. These firings and these changing of power, so to speak. Things like this happen. These people have sat on this and toyed with this for 4 years, or at least a little bit under 4 years, under President Donald Trump, knowing that they were going to play this Trump card. Second Amendment supporters had a massive hand in electing Donald Trump in 2016, a massive hand. Donald Trump came out openly, not stating specifically why, but stating that he was very pro-Second Amendment, guest at the NRA conventions, all kinds of other things. We're not going to go into the NRA discussion right here, which, by the way, the NRA is very involved in this process. Go figure. I guess they're trying to save their membership right now. But Donald Trump has not been a friend to the Second Amendment. He says he is, but he's done nothing. The Hearing Protection Act, still sitting out there stale. Nothing's happening with it. So again, you know my problems with Donald Trump. However, I don't think Donald Trump supports the ATF in this unless maybe he's not enough of a gun guy that, just like a bump stock, he thought they were useless because he doesn't know anything about guns and he didn't know what a bump stock did and figured somebody whispered in his ear, oh, they do this, this, and this. And Donald Trump's like, oh, well, of course they ought to be outlawed. Somebody's going to whisper in his ear about all of these, and my guess is because Donald Trump has never seen one in person, does not know what they are, and does not realize how many people it impacts, he may not say a word about this, thinking that it's not that big of a deal. This could single-handedly cost Donald Trump the election because Second Amendment supporters stood behind Donald Trump in 2016. And with this looking like Donald Trump's ATF being the one that's pushing this through and allowing this to make tons, millions of people become felons overnight, I'm not saying these people would ever vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris because I don't believe that they ever would, the true gun supporters, the true Second Amendment supporters out there. But don't be surprised if they sit it out. If they are that fed up, they've already fed up and still have a little bit of burning in the back of their throat from the bump stocks and the comments that Donald Trump made on red flag gun laws, that now Donald Trump's very own ATF, that he did not make the necessary changes to make any kind of a change in management, I guess you could say the culture that exists within the ATF. My point is, Donald Trump can save this. Donald Trump can come out about this and say, I should have made these changes, and ATF, you're not doing this. He could very easily put an end to this, and he needs to do this if he wants to save his re-election chances. Because I'm telling you, this is very possible. This single-handedly could make these Second Amendment supporters sit this one out, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris could very easily win this next election.